Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotts, and oh, how amazing you'll be.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry for the late start. Here in Australia, it's Father's Day. So, it's Father's Day on the weekend, so I had a kid's Father's Day presentation at the school. So, my apologies for a little bit of a late start, but we got a few people here. So, Dragon, of course, welcome. And Lachlan, Umit, happy Father's Day. R2AU, fantastic, welcome. All right, what are we going to do today? I think we're going to continue on. So, who's a father? Just out of interest, I am. But if you're Umid, happy Father's Day. Dragon, happy Father's Day as well. R2, but you're proxying it through somebody else. Fantastic. All right, great. Well, what are we going to do today? We're going to continue on. Lachlan, you're the opposite of a father. I don't know what that is. I would have thought a mother, but excellent. Well, happy Father's Day to all the fathers. Oh, you're a son. Got it. We're all sons. All right. So we're going to continue on with this design here that we work on. And so in the last stream, we kind of did this first page here. I actually did a little bit of work after the stream in order to fix up a few things like some fonts and getting the colors right. Today, what we're going to focus on is this second screen that's about to appear. Here we are. And see if we can knock that one out. So for those of you who are wondering where you can find this design, it's by Tubik Studios, I think it is. Really nice design. Lots of nice colors in there. Some interesting animations happening. So as you probably know, if you've joined in on the stream before, I like a good animation. So we'll have a look at that. And if you're after the code, then it's over here on GitHub. So again, I'll be checking in the code, and I'll also be uploading the videos a little bit later on as well. Now I did do a little bit of a change after the last stream. So what I did after the stream was I added in some styles and some fonts and also some colors as well. So Dragon, yeah, you had to leave a little bit early last stream. Did we get the angled animations? We did. Let's have a look at what we have running, what we've got so far. Well, that's Adobe XD. So I sort of extracted all the colors out of here for the various things. And broke a few MVVM rules in the process. So let's have a look at what we have. I think I've got this running already. Okay, so this is what we have at the moment. Okay, so we've got our layout going on here. Make that a little bit bigger. And as we scroll, we've got those angles going as well. Okay, so the way we did that is we did it through Messaging Center and basically send a message out to say, hey, I've scrolled, and the cell would then go and update its gradient on there as well. So like I said, the other changes I made was just adding in some fonts and things like that. So, you know, that's actually not a bad representation of what we're trying to do. So what we want to do next is actually get that second page. So at the moment, when we click on one of these cells, we're getting nothing. So we need to go to that second page and have a look at that. Okay, cool. Now we should probably just write a little bit of a list of what we're going to try and get through today. So what we're trying to do today is, we're going to add in our second page. So this is the swap details page. And part of that is we're going to want to do some shared transitions. I think that's the right name for it. So basically, you'll notice that when the user selects a row, the book, for example, will animate into the right place. So it does that little sort of shared transition that we have there. And it turns out that there's a really, really cool plugin called Xamarin.plugin.shared transitions, which I think is going to do exactly what we need. So let me just put a link in for that one and just post a link out into the chat window as well. So what this allows us to do is it allows us to basically do those shared transitions, right? So you can select an element and then you can say, hey, on the other page, I want this element to go to a particular place. So it's based on the names that we give it. So we have a shared transition navigation page. Let me zoom that in a little bit. And then you basically say, hey, I've got this image. You give it a name. Okay. And then in the destination page, you also have something with the same name as well. And what it will do is it'll automatically transition it across, which is pretty awesome. So that's what we're going to have a look at there in order to do that. There's a few other complexities as well going on. What else have we got? We've got all these animations sort of coming in here as well. So we'll have a look at those. I suppose our first port of call, though, is to add in that second page, do our shared transitions, do our animations on our swap details page. And there's quite a bit going on there as well. So we'll have a look at that. What else have we got to do? That's pretty much it, I think. But that will probably take us through to the end of today's stream. And hopefully that'll finish off this one as well. Okay, so let's just do a quick review here of where we're at. So something that I changed, and if anyone's an MVVM person, they might complain about this a little bit. What I have is I've got each of the books here, okay? And I created a color palette class. So this color palette class is really just a bunch of values inside of here. So it has the accents, dark accents, extra dark accents, the title colors, because part of this design is very much around the colors, so it's a really important part of the design of this. So that's why I've basically put those in. What I did to minimize the amount of badness in my view model, in my actual view model itself, there's really just one property under a book, right? Which is the color values. Okay. And so the color values just give us all of those different ones for a particular title. Okay. So we've got question there in the chat window. Is Xamarin completely free? Yeah. So Xamarin is free as in beer. So when I first joined Xamarin, it wasn't free. It was about $1,000 per developer per platform. But since Microsoft acquired it, it's all become nice and open source and free as well. Yeah. And ready to learn? Fantastic. I'm ready to make mistakes as well, Travidale. And Jessipass just come here to say hi. Well, hi. Welcome. Alrighty. So let's get started, shall we? So first thing we want to do, we want to create ourselves another page. So when we click on one of these, we want to navigate to another page, and that's going to be our swap details page. Okay, and once we have that, we'll also put in some shared transitions as well. So why don't we start there? I'll get that out of my way. And as we go through, if you've got any ideas about how we should implement something, or just any questions, feel free to ask away. Let me close these down. Okie dokie. So let's go and create ourselves a new page to start off with. So a new Xamarin.Forms page. So we'll select Xamarin.Forms here, content page, and let's call this swap details. And I should put a little bit of music on. Beautiful. Okay, so this page, is just sort of coming up and saying, hey, I've got a label in here. Let's get rid of that. We don't need that. Some jams, R2, exactly. All right, cool. So we've got ourselves a content page now. We're going to want to navigate from in our main page. We've got our list view inside of here. Somewhere down here. Okay. Very fast with the emoticons, Lachlan. I love it. Okay, so in that main page, what we'll do is I'll be a little bit cheeky here. We can sort of refactor this a little bit later on, but I'm going to basically start off with an item tapped. Okay, and let's go and in our item tapped, what we're going to want to do is just navigate to another page, and we'll see if that works for us. So hold here, so I'm just getting my fingers already. Oh, actually, one other thing is our main page isn't wrapped within a navigation page, so we probably want to do that as well. Okay, so let's go back to our app XAML CS. Ah, it's already a navigation page. Beautiful. And that means what I can do now is I can basically come in and we'll just basically go and navigate to it. All right, so should be able to do something like navigation dot push async, and we'll create ourselves a new swap details page. All right, and one thing that I need to do is I need to pass across the selected. Hey, Capel Twitch, welcome. Good morning. Now, this is an awaitable, so we should probably go and await this, which means this is going to be threaded async void. Okay, and that should hopefully take us to the page. Let's just make sure that we have that working.
You live in a different world.
Come on, Android. All right. So let's click on one. Beautiful. We've navigated to another page and we can go back again. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to pass across the details or the selected item. The way I normally like to do that sort of thing is actually just perhaps have something in my view model which indicates the selected item. So let's do that. So I've already got a book here, which is the swap book from. I could probably sort of change that from there, but let's add another property in here. Okay, and this is going to be a book. It's going to be my selected book. Beautiful. And we are using MVVM helpers here. I'll just put that in the constructor. That is the wrong place to do it. Okay. And so what we want to do is we want to say, okay, under a get, let's return the selected book, which is not a variable we have at the moment. So let's use good old Visual Studio, generate ourselves a field there for selected book. And we're using James Montemagno's MVVM helpers. So he has a method called set property. I'll say, okay, I'm going to set a book, and we're going to, Clinton Rocksmith is here with the 500 triangles. Thank you, Clinton. Shared rewards. Nice. Is that a food fight? Fantastic. I expect to see lots of food fights go on. Okay, so what have we got? We want to return we want to set our selected book. And and we'll set that to our value inside of there, something like that. I love it. Food fights. Okay, so that's pretty much added that in. So what we want to do is we want to pretty much say when we select an item, we want it to set that as a selected book. Okay, so let's come back into our code here. And I'll just do it through here for the moment. So this has got a books view model. And we'll say this is our binding context. And we'll set our selected book equal to the item that was selected, the item that was tapped on. And we don't have a book. There we are, using our view model. So now we have a book. Beautiful. And what I'm going to do, because this page here and the details page or the swap details will want to share the same view model, right? The same instance of a view model. So again, I'm going to just do something a little bit cheeky here. And I'm sure Clinton's going to come in and he's going to shame me for this one. I've got a special button just for you, Clinton. So let's create ourselves a books view model that we're going to share. And so we'll call this our main view model. And we'll just new up our books view model here. Beautiful. All right. And what we'll do is we'll say, okay, our main page is going to use that as our binding context. We have our initialize component, right? And then we're basically getting a bunch of colors out of here, okay, from our swap book. So we'll say this, the binding context for this is going to equal app.mainViewModel. And then in our other page, which is our swap details page, we'll go ahead and we'll basically do the same thing just to say, hey, you know, these guys have got the same view model. So this is app.mainViewModel. And like that. And what that should allow us to do is now when we select an item, this page is going to be able to pick up the selected book out of here. Let's give this a go. Let's run this up. And what we should be able to do is we should be able to, if all goes well, we should be able to put those images in there for the book covers, and we should see the right book cover. Right, so step one, we still have the correct. Hey, Martin Van Stam, welcome and thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Oh, hang on. I'm trying to be good. And making sure I remember all these special thanks. So what do we have? We had Clinton. Clinton started a food fight. Good man. 500 triangles, I think. And Martin and Stam followed. Beautiful. Appreciate it. Always nice to see those follows. It makes me feel somehow validated as a human. All right, so Clinton, not Clinton, Lachlan. Cheered 100 bits. Good man. I need to get some sounds for some of the regulars. Lachlan and Clinton and Dragon and R2. I already have an R2 sound, but I'm going to get some sounds together for you guys. So if you have some sounds that you want me to associate with your name, let me know. So for example, I think this is R2.
It's R2, so you can't argue with it.
I think I'm going to set one of those up for every single follower. All right, beautiful. Anyway, I'm distracted. So we're going to go to this page here. Let me put this over here. We've got hot reload going. It's an excellent sample. I've got a good one from for Lachlan as well, for when he proved me wrong during the Marvel cards UI challenge, where I said all superheroes have two names. He pointed out that Incredible Hulk doesn't, and actually there's heaps of them that don't. All right, so here's my theory, right? So we get a swap details page, and let's just try this first of all. So what I should be able to do is if I set an image and I set its source to be equal to binding, what is it? What would it be? Let me check my view model for a second. Selected book dot its cover image. And close my tag. There we go. So we've got our Clinton. You've got a soundbite there. Wow. I'm just reading the title of it. I'm not sure it's going to be appropriate. All right, so that means that if I come back here and I select this, beautiful. Okay, so we've got that. We should also be able to get the one that it's from. So am I using hot reload? I am using hot reload. I'm actually not even using the release or the public preview. I'm still using the private preview, so it's probably a little out of date. But you know what? It works really, really well. So I'm super happy with what they're doing. As soon as they get code reloading, then I'm going to be super happy. Okay, cool. So we're basically passing some information across there. Let's start to construct this page, because obviously we don't want it to just look like that. What it's going to look like. Yeah, I've got Adobe XD here, and I think I captured an image of this page. There we go. Okay, so this is what we're going to want it to look like. We're going to have the book we're swapping from. Dragon, you haven't updated to the public preview. Yeah, I think you've got to be running the preview version of Visual Studio, right? Which I should probably do, but I'm not at the moment. So yeah, so you need the run the preview edition. Okay, so what we're gonna have is we're gonna have the book from the top left. We're gonna have the book to in the bottom right. Pretty much, I think the way this page is gonna pan out when you have a look at this is we're gonna have a grid, because as we all know, all good designs start with grid. And the grid is gonna have, I think, 3 rows in it. The first row is going to have the from book. The second row is going to have this swap information. The third is going to have the book we're swapping to. This background that we have is an animated background. So I think what we'll do with that one is we'll probably use SkiaSharp for that. Okay, because back to here, a little not as organized as I'd like to be. You can see that it does some animations as we go across. It animates that angle in there. Okay, anyway, let's come back to our page here and let's set it up how we want it. So we'll have a grid, we'll have some row definitions. We're gonna have 3 rows. How big is our font? Let's pump that up a little bit. All right. So we're going to have row definition. So the first row is going to occupy basically half the space. So we'll say its height is going to be equal to star. So that's going to take up all of the available space basically. But we're going to have 3 rows. This middle one is going to be, we'll put it as a fixed size. We could say auto, but generally you get better performance if you can actually specify how high it's going to be. So we'll make that 100, and then we'll get this guy. Oops, that's not going to work, is it? Wow. Okay. Wow, Visual Studio died. It's a great start to the stream, isn't it? You see how many things I didn't save. Here, window, where are you? There we go. All right, let me get this out of the way. Let's see where we're at. What did we do? Goodness. Main page. Oh dear. It didn't save any of it. Really? In a second. Doesn't feel right. Load up Visual Studio. Sometimes things don't work. That's exactly right. Where is this? In a second. But I've got a fail button.
Failure.
Should be pressing that a few times today. Ah, here we go. All right, here we go. Swap details. Yeah, okay, this is the page I screwed up. I don't know why. Exception there. Visual Studio cracked it. Let's do that. Let's try spin this up again. See if it works. Oops, deploy failed. These are always the fun things to look at, aren't they? Point to Zam, you failed. I think we're back. Let's hope Visual Studio doesn't do that again. Beautiful. All right, cool. So we've got our selected book here. That's actually going to want to go into, put this up here and see if I can put this up here so it's not behind my head. And just for the moment, just to make sure that we've got this, I think this is called swap book. And that's actually going to go in grid row 0. This one's going to go in grid row 1. 2, sorry. Swap book doesn't look like it's actually being set. Let's have a look at our view model. It's called swap from book. Naming is hard. Beautiful. All right. So therefore we've got our 2 books. Excellent. All right, now let's lay out this page. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, in terms of the actual page itself, if we have a look at this here, as I said, we'll do a grid here with basically a couple of rows, 3 rows inside of there. This one here, I think, so for this cell in here, we'll do a grid with 2 columns. So one for the book and the background, and we'll also do 2 rows as well. So basically this text here is going to go into here. All of this stuff is going to go into there, and the book image is going to span across these 2. Okay, so that's the design we'll use. And pretty much the bottom one is going to be the same, just flipped which columns things are in. Okay, cool. Let's start to code this puppy out then. And hopefully we can just do this while we're doing our hot reload here. Okay, so this is going to be our swap from book. All good designs start with a grid. So let's have a grid. This is going to have, as we said, we'll chuck a couple of rows and a couple of columns in. So we'll just start off with these set to star. I'm going to copy that. Okay, and then we'll set a couple of columns in here as well. And set that to auto for where the book's going to be, and then we'll set this second column to occupy the remaining space. So we'll set that as a star. Okay, cool. And now what we should be able to do is we should be able to get our swap book from, and we should be able to put that in. It was already going to be in grid row 0. And so I don't actually need this, but if you want to be explicit, grid row 0, and it's going to span 2 rows. Cool. Okay, so that puts us over there. I'll just focus on the top book to start with, because as I said, the bottom one is pretty much the same. We'll just sort of copy it really. Okay, so we've got that there. Behind each of the books is this color section. So we'll make that a box view behind there. So we'll say, let's get a box view. The color of this, so each of the books has a color. So I should be able to say, bind the color in the swap from book colors, and we'll put it in the title color. Okay, so we'll say colors dot title color, if that works. Doesn't look right. We're going to have to add some margins in here. In fact, here's the problem. This needs to span 2 rows as well. 2 rows. Beautiful. All right. And we're probably going to want to set the height of this explicitly. So let's have a look at how big these images are. (89 by 132). So let's times them by, say, because they want to be a little bit bigger than what they are. They're about 1.5 times. So what have we got? 132 times 1.5, 198. That's how big our book wants to be. And 89 times 1.5 is 133. All right, cool. Stick this over here. We'll use some of those numbers to actually sort of size this out. So let's do this. Well, let's do the image first. So we'll say this will have a width request of 133. And we'll have a height request. What did we have? We had 198. Okay, beautiful. And then we'll center it. So we'll say vertical option center, horizontal option center. There we are. That gives us a book around the right size. And the box view, let's just do the same thing. So I'll copy a couple of these. But we'll add a little bit of margin. We'll break some things here. Let's get rid of that source. Save it. And we'll add like 20 to it, maybe. So 10, we'll have a 10 margin around everything. So that would make this 218 and it would make it 153. Okay, cool. All right, so that's good. Let's add some margin around this grid, bring it in from the side of the page. All right, that's looking a little bit better. Beautiful. Okay, so there's our book. That's probably enough. Let's just check the aspect on this. I like to get the whole book in, so we'll say aspect fit. Yeah, so it's pretty much right. Well, because we got it from the image size, so the aspect ratio should be about right. Now let's do the title and the author. Okay, so if the title and the author for this here, in this first cell here, let's just make this a stack layout. So going down here. Stack layout. And of course, we're going to have a couple of labels in here. So the text is going to be coming from our swap from book dot, it's called title. And this is the stack layout is going to be in grid column 1. Cool. All right. So we got a title in there. We have some styles. Can't remember what they are, but I think IntelliSense will help us out here. Okay, book title. Let's try that. Okay, that's good. And let's also set the text color. And so for this, again, I should be able to bind this to the color that we have. Swap from book dot colors dot I'm gonna have to have a look at it, aren't I? What do we have in our color palette? It would probably be called our title color. All right. Dot title color. Okay, let's save that. Doesn't work at all. Swap from book dot. What do we want? Oh, title colors. That's not right, is it? Title color. Beautiful. All right, cool. So we have that. Let's throw a bit of margin in here. Margins are good. We like margins. We want a margin to the left. We probably don't want one to the right or the top. Let's just do that. Beautiful. And then we'll throw another label underneath, and that's going to be our author. So we'll use the same style. We'll use author as our text. Beautiful. And we have another style for the author, I think. There we are, author. Okay, beautiful. So that's got our first bit of text in there. Now, let's have a look at what we're going to do in this bottom section here. Okay, so in this bottom section, we're going to have a box view, I'm guessing. We'll have a box view, and then we'll have a label inside of there. Now, we also got this little bookmark here. So I think we'll put all of this in a grid just to help us size it all. Seems about right. We'll limit that to 4 lines of text. I don't think I have a property yet, which actually has the description of the book. So I'll have to have a look at that as well. Okay. But let's just see what we get first of all. If I was to say, let's put a grid in column 1. And grid row 1. And inside of that grid, let's just stick a box view for the moment. We should probably get our colors for our background working actually. But if I set a box view here, and we'll make that color of, because what we have in our design, these here, this box here, and this box here, they basically got the same color as their background. I'm going to just put an opacity, I think, inside of them. So if I make that an opacity of 0.5, then we should be able to, basically fake out that color. So we'll say the color itself is going to be coming from the book, swap from book dot colors dot accent color. Actually, no, I don't think I want... Maybe we just want that white, really. Which, of course, we're not going to be able to see here. Because I'm thinking if we put a white and we put an opacity of 0.5, let's use debug rainbows. Always want to use more debug rainbows. We've already got it. Yeah, we've already got it set up in here. So we'll add that in. We'll say, let's add it in for the page. Debug true. Can it work for me? Always get this wrong, don't I? Let's put it in the grid. I was expecting that to give me some colors. No? Hot reload says no? Let's... If there's a hot reload issue. Oh, it was a hot reload issue because I did something bad. And hot reload doesn't reload a page which has errors. And finish my box view. Song's a little bit hectic, isn't it? Let's deploy that out again. Okay, cool. All right. Excellent. Now we can see where things are positioned. So, so our box view is down here in the bottom. That's awesome. And we're going to want to have, hello, Matthias. Welcome. Okay, let's put a label in here as well. Okay, so at the moment we don't have any text. So let's just go something, something, something. And then I'll go and add something into the view model. Let's just throw a few of those in there. Let's give this a, we said we're going to have a maximum number of lines of 4. We're going to want to give this a style. And so what style do we have? Probably the same as the author. Okay. Just see whether that's going to give us some text there. Yeah, it gives us some text. Beautiful. Let's say we want to vertically center that. Beautiful. I'd say we probably want a bit of margin in there as well. So, yeah, nice to be able to sort of see what's going on with the hot reload. It makes an awesome amount of difference. Okay, cool. Now, we're not going to be able to see that, are we? So if I was to say this is red. Turn our debug rainbows off for a second. Okay, cool. So let's have a look at this bottom section here. That's kind of right. We want to move this up a bit from the bottom. So we'll give it a bit of bottom margin. And our border there is 10. So probably if we make it 20, it's probably going to be about right. Come down here. Let's say, give this a margin of, actually, maybe we want the margin on the, let's just put it in here. Let's say 0, 0, 10, 20, 0. Let's see what we get. That's not right. Left, top, right, bottom. I think we want to put this margin on the grid because otherwise our text isn't going to align very nicely. Anyway, that's better. Beautiful. Okay, I think it's time we put the background in because it's going to be hard to design this and get it right without actually sort of seeing how the colors work. Now, I'm going to do the background. So the background is sort of has this nice sort of angle on it here. But what I think we'll do is we'll use SkiaSharp because we have to animate it. And so if we come back to our design here, we can see that it basically starts off and then it sort of switches across. So let's add that in because we love a bit of animation, don't we? So in other words, what I'm going to do is right up here, remembering that the way the layering works in Xamarin.Forms is if you want something further at it will basically, as you add elements, they layer on top of each other. So we want this to be right up the top, which means it's going to be at the back. And we're going to want to put in SkiaSharp. Okay, I've already got the namespace in here. So we'll have SkiaSharp forms. Beautiful. And let's make this our background here. So we should be able to say we want a canvas view. We'll give this a name because we're going to want to reference this. So maybe like our background, I suppose. Background. And we want this to fill the entire area. So we'll say vertical fill, horizontal fill, which is probably the default values actually anyway. And we are also going to want to have a paint method on it. Paint surface. Edge background.paint surface. Beautiful. All right, so let's stop this. And what we'll do is, because both of these elements here that we have their colors in there as well, we should be able to like fill the top section with the swap from color and the bottom part with a swap to color. So I have to stop this. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that little bit of initialization code that we often need with SkiaSharp from our cells, which is doing that already. Scroll down here. Let's get rid of this out of the way for the moment. Okay, this is the sort of basic code that you need here. SkiaSharp. Go back to our swap details. And effectively what we want to do, from add our usings in and change the name of this to args. So let's do this. Let's sort of draw the top half and then draw the bottom half. Alrighty, cool. So we're going to have to get some colors coming in here. So let's catch those. Perhaps they're not on appearing. Let's do that. Let's go and override on appearing. And we're going to want to create some paint objects. Okay. Because we don't want to create them as we're rendering each time, because that's going to sort of take up a fair bit of resources. It's going to be too many disposers happening. So we'll add an SK paint. And this will be like our accent paint. So our bottom one and our top one, and then we'll have one which is our accent from. So this will be accent. Well, it's basically from and to. Let's do this. Let's say access from accent to, and we'll grab hold of these. So see if this will work. We'll do it here. I don't know. What do you think? In the constructor? Constructors, I don't like doing much in the constructor. But we already have the binding context, so let's just do it here for the moment. So we'll say accent from paint is a new SK paint object, and its color is going to be from a view model dot swap from book dot colors dot accent. And what is that? That is probably a, yeah, so to SK paint, to SK color. Okay, and so that's basically going to say, hey, let's make this a Skia color. Okay, and then if we get our accent to paint, and we're going to get this from the selected book. And then hopefully what I could do here is I could just say, let's draw a rectangle. We'll have to change this a little bit later on, but we'll say Let's create a rect here. Equals new SKRect. It's going to be from 0, 0 to the width to info.height divided by 2. Okay, so halfway up the page. Beautiful. Oops. And then we should be able to say, let's draw the top rect in our accent from paint. Okay, so that should have the color, the accent color of the from book. And we'll basically just do the same thing down here. This will be our bottom rect, which is going to go from x is 0. Height is going to go from info.height divided by 2. The width of the page, and this is a bottom. So this isn't a height, this is a bottom. So therefore it'll just go to info.height. And then we should be able to say draw in the bottom rect with accent to paint. So all going well. That should now draw our page with the 2 colors. Where's my window? Okay, that didn't work very well. Okay, it kind of did, right? It got the yellow of this one, which is the accent color of this one, and the purple, which is that one. But of course, it's in the wrong spot because that paint has to go across 3 rows, right? So we have grid dot row span. I can never remember with row spans whether it would be 2 or 3. Spanning 3 rows, I think that's right. Beautiful. Awesome. Okay, cool. So we've got our 2 colors. Awesome. Do you want to do the animation of it now? What do you think? SkiaSharp has excellent performance. Matthias, it really does perform very, very well. There is things that you can do in terms of using memory. Like, for example, you notice that back on this page here, right? I actually created these 2 paint objects, right? Just once, because it's not going to change. I could have, just like inlined them here, right? So if you think about this method here, what this method here really is like draw a frame basically, right? And so we're going to animate this in a second. We might animate it now actually. And if I just created those inline here, those paint objects, then you're creating at every single frame, you're creating a paint object. And so that would create a lot of garbage collection. And so you don't want to do that. That's why I went and did it upstairs, basically. So yeah, there's definite ways that you can, definite ways you can make it perform nicer or worse. What I always like to do is I like to run the profiler on it afterwards, just to check whether it's, disposing of objects and things like that. Alrighty. Why don't we get this animation going? Because that'll help liven it up a little bit. Okay, so I think we'll do this on appearing. So once the page appears, come back and have a look. Once the page appears, in fact, I've got a video of this. Let me load that up. It's going to be much nicer. find it. Here we go. Oops. Second. It's out of the way. If we've got a video, we can sort of step through what's happening. Cool. So when this page comes in, it basically okay, we've got that shared transition. We'll have a look at that in a moment, but it basically divides the page in between these two elements, and then it animates that. Does that angle bit there. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll get from that central point, let's animate a value. Let's say it goes like 100, for example. What we'll do is when we draw the background, if we draw it as a path instead, so the path would go, for example, like from here to here, down to here, across to here and up there, right? So it's kind of like a rectangle, right? But as it moves like this, what we'll do is we'll just subtract some off this side and we'll add some to that side, and that will allow us to do it. So Travis says, almost looks like the bottom color is a tad larger. Yeah, it does look a little bit larger, doesn't it? What the theory there is. We can adjust it. So, you know, one thing that we can do is, let's make a little adjustment. Let's see if it works. So here where we've got like star, we could change this if we want that bottom bit to be just a little bit bigger. Let's make this 1 star, and we'll make this 1.2. Didn't work. Did that work? Yeah, it probably did. I mean, if we made this 2 star, then that would... Ish. Ah, no, sorry. We're not doing it there. Of course, that doesn't make sense. We're doing it in our paint, aren't we? So, back in our page here, on the page, here it is. We could say, get the height of that times by 0.9, for example. Wouldn't we? Would that work? It'd probably work, wouldn't it? Up to 0.9. And then we could say this one goes from, why don't we create a variable here? Anyway. So we could say this comes from here. 0.9. And then we could say this one, I suppose, is times 1.1, right? Does that make sense? That should do it for us. I think we'll have it end up having a lot of adjustments anyway as we go through. There we go. That's a little bit higher now. Cool. Let's go with that. Okay, cool. So let's do the animation, right? So why don't we say here, when we're appearing, let's create ourselves an animation. Now we're going to have lots of animations in this page. So I'm going to create a parent animation and then add all the child animations in so as we can adjust the timings for them. We'll say this is a new animation. And then we'll say, let's just do it for the moment. Let's say parent anim dot add new beginning at 0 of the animation, ending at 1, a new, it's out of the way, new animation. And what we're going to do is we're going to basically change a value here, right? So we'll say, if we have a look at the constructor for this, we've got a callback is the first thing we do. So on the time, let's create ourselves a variable. So let's say color angle animation equals T. Now I don't want this to go between 0 and 1. Oh no, wait on. Create that variable first of all. Because that's the value we're going to use. So we'll say, yeah, that equals T. And we'll say, let's make it go between 0 and, I think that row was 100 high. And we'll give it an easing of, my normal default is just start with a sin in out. You know, just to give it a little bit of acceleration and deceleration. So that's basically going to go and change this value from 0 to 100. So we've got that animation now. So now we can say, hey, parent animation dot commit. Page animations. We'll say, let's make it 16 frames a second. Let's say we want it to run over a second. And again, we'll change that a little bit later on. So now we should be able to get this value here, which should be changing. And instead of drawing a rect here, let's get a little bit more complex. So we've got our base starting point. Anyway, what we're going to do is want to say, let's create an escape path. Actually, you know what? I'm just thinking. I'm thinking, technically, do we even need to draw two paths? Couldn't we just... It's pretty much got the background color, and then we're going to have the top color. Let's try this. Let's just create a path for the top section. And we'll put this in a using again, just so it disposes it. And our path is going to say, let's start at 0, 0. Let's move. What language? Oh, hello, Shock Troop. This is C# that we're developing in here. So what I'm actually dealing with here is something called SkiaSharp. That's the, so the language is C#. What I'm doing is using a library called SkiaSharp, which is useful for cross-platform rendering. So I'm going to say, let's go from 0, 0. Okay, so if we think about our page here, we're going to draw it from this point across to this point. We're going to draw it down to where our halfway line is, or our almost halfway line. Down here. But we're going to subtract off that animation value. And then we're going to draw it across to here. But we're going to add the animation value, and then we'll go back to 0 there. Yeah, cool. Hey, thanks for the follow, Shock Troop. Appreciate it. Let's go and remember the good times. And Shock Troop, are you learning C#? Is that a new language that you're taking on? And Lachlan, I can see where this is going, Lachlan. You just want me to spend all my time updating this, don't you? So just to let you know what we're doing here. Let's just, we're sort of at the hour mark, so let's do a quick recap for anyone who has joined in on what we're actually doing. So on a Friday in this stream, and Dragon, that's very kind, thank you. We're actually doing Xamarin development. So what we do on a Friday is we take a design that we find in Dribble. So this one here, for example, is from Tubik Studios. And we go and we implement this in Xamarin. So Xamarin, if you're not familiar with Xamarin, it's a cross-platform C# library or C# framework, if you like, or F#. It's actually just a cross-platform framework, which allows us to create for iOS and Android and UWP and all of these different platforms. So the idea of this Friday stream, or it's Friday for me here in Australia, is just to play around with different designs, different layouts that I haven't done before, fail sometimes not fail. And I put all of these up in GitHub as well. Okay, so basically there's these in GitHub. In fact, if you go to my GitHub, I've kind of tagged most of the ones that we've been doing. So these ones here are previous UI challenges that we've done. And if you go to my YouTube, or actually if you click on any of these, like this is the one we did last, what you'll find is, that's a big image, isn't it? We basically have, actually I haven't uploaded the videos for this one. I'll do that today. Sorry, that was a bad thing. Let me pick one that makes a bit more sense. So like this art auction one, where we develop this UI by Alex Pasenka. Sometimes I write blog posts. I'm trying to write more blog posts on them to teach you what to do, but I've actually got the various sessions recorded as well as we do it. So anyway, welcome, Shock Trooper. Feel free to ask questions as you go through. All right, what we're doing here. So we were drawing that top section. So we want to go from 0, 0, which is the top corner. We want to go to info.width. So that's the width of our canvas at 0.0. Now we want to go to, we want to come down the page a little bit. So we'll go to info width and we're going to go to, we worked out this, right? We said it was going to be 0.9, didn't we? But we're going to subtract. Talal, welcome. I hope I'm saying that right. Welcome. Beautiful. Thank you so much. And yeah, feel free to ask any questions. So what we said is we were going to subtract that value from this side. So it was called color angle anim. It's a terrible name. That's going to be a double. So we want to convert that to a float. Because, is that going to work? No. I've got too many brackets, don't I? That's a reason why. Go. And then on this other side, we're going to add that value. And then we can actually just call path.close, which will close the path, because what we've done there is we've said, yeah, we're drawing from here to here, to here, to here, and then, yeah, close it up. So it'll just draw that for me. So I don't actually have to explicitly do that. Okay. And now what I should be able to do is I should be able to say canvas.draw path, that path, using the accent paint color. access from paint. Yeah. And then what we could do is, before we do that, let's draw a rect just over the whole page. So we'll say this is going to be info.rect, right? So info.rect is the whole rectangle of it. And we'll say this is going to be our accent to paint. I think line 2 requires floats. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it requires floats. Okay, so if I get rid of this down here, that's just filling the background. Fill the background. And then doing the top half. Haven't learnt line 2 yet? Yeah, it's basically just says, hey, let's go and draw a line from one point to another point. I reckon if we've done that right, we should now have that background animation. Yeah, so as Dragon says there, thanks Dragon. Yeah, it's actually part of SkiaSharp, so it's not C#. It's a library that we use, which does cross-platform drawing, yeah, it's a method in there. That didn't work at all. Not even in the slightest. Because... okay, there's a couple of reasons why this isn't working. One, because I don't even know what I did with this, right? So that when we drew that line, we didn't come back over to here. It was still at info width. Copy pasta. Isn't that what they say? Don't use copy paste. So we want to make that to 0. Now, also it didn't animate, right? And the reason it didn't animate is because we had this animation value. Hang on, let me just check here. So we're going from there to 0 to 0. We're going down to there. Then we're line to 0. Yep, cool. The reason why that is not going to animate is because we're changing this value, but we're not telling the canvas to redraw. So we should actually do something like this and say, after you go and animate, give me a new value. Let's go page background dot invalidate surface, right? Which is saying, go and redraw yourself. Shock Troop. You're a network engineer. Yeah, cool. I hate networking. It's because I'm rubbish at it. So you might find some good things, at Pluralsight or Microsoft Learn. They have some good resources. Look at that. Look at that. There we go. So that did a little bit of animation. There's that little line. Beautiful. Okay, and it's doing it with those colors. In fact, probably I can cause this to redraw if I just save this. Let's have a look. Yeah, there we go. Beautiful. Shock Troop. Okay, Travidal, question there first of all. Can I explain how it knows to animate that line? Absolutely. Let's have a look at what we have here. So on this page, right, what we're saying, this is swap details. On appearing is the method which is called when a page appears. Okay, and so what you notice is, when a page appears, it then starts rendering it, right? Now, what I have in my page is I've got, sorry, not main page. I've got this Skia canvas, right? So it's a drawing surface that is going across the entire background. And then when I appear, I create an animation. The animation says, go and get this value and animate it between 0 and 100. Okay. Over, and this is basically controlling the length of the entire animation. So over 1 second, but we're going to add other ones in here a bit later on. So it's going to get this value. It's going to turn this from 0 to 100. It's going to over 1 second. And this is saying invalidate the surface. So this is basically saying, hey, let's go and redraw that background, which calls this method here. This method here then says, yep, go and fill the background, go and create that shape at the top, right? And we use that animation value, which is going between 0 and 100, to subtract values going this way over time and that way over time as well. And we just draw a line across there and then back there. So it's basically calling that method over and over and over again. So you can kind of think of it like a game loop maybe. And it sounds horribly inefficient, but SkiaSharp is really, really fast. It's actually, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody, but I think it's a Google product. It's probably open source, but it's not just, so I'm using SkiaSharp, which is the C# bindings for the Skia library. Yeah, cool. Okay, cool. So there we are. We've got our background. We're starting to get this in play, but now that we have this, we can, yeah, no worries, Travi. Travi Dale. Dragon, what's Dragon saying? Dragon's saying SkiaSharp's a .NET wrapper library over Google Skia. Yeah. Completely open source. Yeah, okay, so if you want to play around with Skia, yeah, some good resources. There's some, so if you have a look at SkiaSharp, the cool thing is that all this stuff is open source now. So you can go, you can dig through all of this. Turns out that the docs are really good as well. SkiaSharp docs. No, we don't want that. We want the actual. What's it going to be? Okay, cool. So the SkiaSharp in Xamarin.Forms. You can come here. What's really nice about, well, the best thing I would suggest if you're going to get into SkiaSharp, there's really good docs in here about how to use it, but the sample app that they have actually has heaps and heaps of great stuff. So pretty much everything is in that sample. So if you download that sample, break it apart, you'll understand heaps. Lachlan says, oh, Shock Troop, you got to go to bed? Yeah, no worries. Well, I'll upload these videos to YouTube as well. Can I provide a link to my YouTube channel? I can. I don't know what it is. Something like that. I don't know. I don't know how YouTube works. I think that's it. And I'll update them. Or the other thing as well is once we've finished this, I'll go and I'll update the GitHub repo with the video as well. So that's where we're doing that. And Lachlan says Skia is a rendering core for Chrome, Firefox, Android, Flutter. Yeah, it does render the world. Thanks, Shock Troop. Have a good evening. Okie dokie. So we got that. Let's design this a little bit more then. We've got our background canvas. Now, this is what I was talking about. So with this background here, let's make this. So instead of making this red, if we make this white, see, that gives us a background here, which is in that accent color. So that would be cool. Okay. And let's go back and have a look at the design again. I can see that we're going to have a lot of shadows going on here. Okay, so if you want to do shadows in Xamarin.Forms and sort of rounded corners, Pancake is a great library for that. Let's go and put that in there, shall we? Put this. I'm going to put this up there. And I can't even spell pancake. Pancake. Okay, so we add that namespace in, and then we should be able to come down here, basically around our box view, and we can stick a pancake around that. Let's see if this is going to work. Oops. Oh, this is the wrong spot. Image. We want to put it around, possibly around this whole grid. Let's just put it around the box view. Let's just start there. Put it around the box view. We'll say, let's get a pancake. And with our pancake, let's see what it does. First of all, it does nothing. Okay. Let's say, let's create a shadow. Cool. Set an elevation of 2, maybe. There we are. That's better. Okay, so we're gonna pancake there. We got our box view. I might change that pancake view to have an opacity. What's the default? I don't know what the default opacity is. Sorry, the default elevation. Let's have a look. So elevation there is 2. But it's significantly more than 2. Yeah, I don't know. I think you'd have to go and check the docs, but it looks like it's about 4 or 5 or something like that. I only want a subtle elevation. I'd actually like to do a pull request and be able to control some things on that shadow, like, you know, what angle it's coming from and how much blurriness it has. That would be a nice little change to make. Okay, let's have a look at what we got here. That outside here needs to be more faint. We're going to change these as we do it. That box view, let's give that an opacity 5. Okay, so that's looking a lot nicer. Maybe it's about the same size. Yeah, so it looks weird if you put the opacity on the box view. Yeah, it looks much better like this. True that. Okay, so we're good there. We need some text to go in here. Font needs to be a little bit smaller. That I think we'll put in, looks like it's done in as an opacity as well. So let's say our author opacity is 0.5. Beautiful. Okay. That good enough? The hand's the wrong way. Bacon Ipsum. That's your favorite one. You know what my favorite one is? Hipster Ipsum. Because I live in a really hipster place in Melbourne. So it's all about, I don't know, biodiesel tofu. All right. Well, let's put some of that in, right? Lift blog heirloom Portland, single origin coffee. Let's get some of this and let's add that into our view model, because then we'll be able to see whether this text is right. Jeff Sum. Gold balloon. That's awesome. I'm not sure I want to. I'm not sure I want to take a dependency on Jeff Sum. Let's do this. Let's just go and ram this into our view model. Actually, we need a book. Our book is now going to have a, and I know Dragon's going to, he's going to yell at me. Well, no, he's not going to yell at me, but he's going to say, you should be using Foddy because then you wouldn't have to do this every single time. And he is perfectly correct. Because it's a really simple view model that I have here. So what is this? This is description, right? Description. Okay, and we'll say this is the description. I just changed that. That was really bad. See, and then you end up making mistakes like this. That can be your soundbite. Okay, wait. I've got a thing I can record here. Wait on. Let me try this, Dragon. Why aren't you using property change.foddy? So now, whenever you say anything, I can do this. Why aren't you using property change.foddy? Why aren't you using property change.foddy? Beautiful. Done. You've got your soundbite. So we got a description. Put an effect. Make it sound like a dragon. All right, let's try this one. Hello, Oidon.
Hello. Let's see if this works. Why aren't you using property change.foddy? Why aren't you using property change.foddy?
Yeah, pitch needs to come up. I'll work on it. I'll get you a good sound bite. Now that I know what you need. Okay. I got distracted. So we're going to add in a description, right? Let's go and grab a hipster ipsum. I'm just going to chuck each of these in. I'll look them up later on after the stream. Iceland skateboard. Flannel vegan squid. I love it. All right, let's just go on and ram this against each of the books. I know that's bad. I'm a bad person. I'm even worse for... That'll just give us some text to play with. I think I put that against each of the books. Except that one. Cool. Okay, let's try that. Let's run it up. Let's go ahead. Do I have the max lines property set? I don't know. We're about to find out. So let's now bind this puppy to, this is our from book, which is called dot description. There we go. We've got it there. Why don't we so it's not spacing it for 4 lines. Why don't we do this? Why don't we say, well, it probably shouldn't. I wonder if that's because we have that set up so that it's splitting it in half and it's actually hitting the top there, I think, is what's happening. So maybe we should say make that an auto and that a star. That might be a good option. Let's see if that works. So if I said this one here was an auto, right? And then we could say this here vertically aligns to the end, which should put it down the bottom. There we go. Something like that. It should cut it off, and you can do this, right? You can say, was it line break mode? You can say tail truncation, so it should give me dots. That's probably better. We might want to adjust the margin of this top one a little bit, I think. Go. That's looking all right. That's looking all right. So what do you think? That's probably good enough that we'll copy that one down to the bottom. Yeah. It bothers you that it goes through, that the angled bit goes through. Yeah, it bothers me a little bit as well. Well, one way we could do it is to stop that from happening is we've said that this row that's sort of invisible that's here is 100, and we're actually animating up 100 from the center. So if we just did it 50, it will never overlap. There we are. And that will make Dragon happy. It'll make me happy too. So why don't we do that? Why don't we say, this is just going to go from 0 to 50. There we are. I'm going to have to restart it in order to do that. Okay, let's first of all get this one and make this one down the bottom. And then it might be time for a food break. Get your snack on. And then we'll come back and we'll do the shared transitions. Oh, why did I stop that? Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to copy this swap from book, that whole grid. Okay, so we should be able to test this here, Dragon. Now it doesn't have enough angle. I mean, it does it, right? I feel like there's some space going on up here. What's going on up here? Margin of 10. Yeah, share transitions are awesome. Let's try this. Let's try 10 from the left, 0 from the right. Zero from the top. 10 from the right. 0 from the bottom. That should move it up a little bit. It did move it up. Why didn't everything move? I didn't change the height of that, although it's probably a little bit too high anyway. Let's just make that 80, for example. I think this wants to go to the top. I think that's what's going on. We want to say vertical options for this is a start. There we go. There we go. That's what we want. R2AU, you're back with coffee. Congratulations, sir. I too have coffee. Okay, let's just do this now. Let's copy paste. This would go to the end, right? Because now, let's have a look. Okay, that was a fail. This is grid.row equals 2. There we are. There it is down the bottom. Let's get rid of this one. This needs a bottom margin. Left, right. Okay, we're actually going to swap these around. So auto star. So now it wants to, because we're just basically flipping these. So now this wants to be in grid column 1. And so does our image. And this wants to be in grid column 0. And these are our, what was the name of that book? I knew I'd forget it. What's the name of the thing in our view model? It's called Selected Book. Oops, hang on. Change the style. I want to change that. Wait, didn't that shame thing? Oh, did the shame thing not play an audio clip? It didn't. Silence. I'm going to change that. Hang on. Give me a moment. Wait on. You ready? Ooh,
Shame.
that was super loud.
Shame. Shame.
There we go. Fixed. What did we break here? What did we break? So we got this down the bottom, but it's not quite right. We've said we've got an image. Our columns, no, our columns want to be auto and star. No, that's not right. That's not right. Star and auto. Box views in column 1. Looks right. Images in row 0 of column 1. That's right. Stack layout is in column 0. That's right. This should be in row 1 of column 0. There we go. That's better. That's better. That's better. Okay, something's going on here. So that's vertical options of end. That's good. Did I add too much margin there? I think I might have. There we go. Why is this less compressed? So this now needs a margin. Doesn't need a top margin, needs a left margin. And this grid here has a margin of 30 at the bottom. Probably needs a margin of 10, I'm guessing. 10. I think you're right, Dragon. I think we can. Here we go. I think we can change it to 100. Yep. Because that's lame, right? That's not enough. Not enough animation. Let's change it right now. Swap details. 100. All right, so let's have a look at this, see if it's kind of about right. I guess we should put in the middle section as well, shouldn't we? All right, yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I like that. Let's just put in this middle bit here. Whoop. Ready for production.
Excellent.
Swap from book, swap to book, and then in here we're going to have this middle bit. Where are you? This bit. So let's use a pancake view with a rounded thing and maybe a grid inside with an icon there. That there. Or just, oh shit, what did I stop it for? Okay. Let's put the swap banner in here. Create a pancake. It's gonna be grid row 1. What are we going to have inside of our pancake? We said we would put a grid with a couple of columns because we need to space those things out. Chocolate chips. Well, I've got my lunch sorted out then. Column definitions. We'll say this the column width equals auto, and I have another one which is star. And then inside of here, I wonder whether we can do this. Actually, I wonder whether we can control it all from Pancake View. So if I said the background color of this is white, and I said it's let's make it 50 high, and I said we'll give it a width as well. So we'll say it's 200 wide. Does that work? Or will it crash Visual Studio? Is this coming back? I don't know. Tears, exactly. Little tear. I'm gonna say it's not coming back. All right. Task manager. Task manager. Okay, Visual Studio, you're dead to me. Sorry about this. Sometimes Visual Studio misbehaves. Normally it's pretty good, actually. All right, come on. Sometimes it's really hard to stop as well. Should use Vim. I want my life. Got no time for Vim. Come on, Visual Studio. There we go. Time to die, Visual Studio. Where are you, Visual Studio? Okay. What were we doing? We're trying to put that middle bit in, right? Swap details page, pancake view. That's what killed us. This one here. Let's try running it again, see if we can get it to work. Okay, let's have a quick reminder meanwhile. So we're going to have some rounded corners. We're going to have some text in the middle. We're going to have an icon over here. All good. So if this is a height request of 50, we want a corner radius of 25. That makes sense. No, don't do it again. Oh, phew. All right, that's a little big. That's a little big. Vertical options center, because it would have been set to fill. Horizontal options center as well. Beautiful. Okay. And then we're going to have a label with swap and an icon. I don't have an icon yet. Let's set an elevation of 2. Beautiful. So we'll set a label. A text equals swap. We'll use a style here. And I think we'll just use the same one as the book title. All right, so that's not positioned greatly. Let's say this is going to be in, okay, because we want to have an icon. So we'll say this is going to be in grid row 0, because we want it to actually be centered. Grid column 0. But it will span 2 columns. And we'll say vertically, we want it to be centered. Horizontally, we want it to be centered. And we could even say our text color. Just looking at this, the text color is the dark accent of the selected book. Which means we should be able to say binding to selected book dot colors. Oops. Dot colors dot probably the extra dark accent. Let's try that. Beauty. Okay, cool. So that should change if I pick a pinky book. We have pink. Nice. Very nice. Blue one, we have a blue. Oh, that's a little bit out of whack, isn't it? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a liberty with this thing. And I'm just going to throw that animation in the middle. Don't think less of me. So many brackets. So many brackets. All right, cool. All right, I think it is just about right. We'll get some images, but I think the exciting bit of this challenge is the shared transition, and it's also the bit that's most likely to just fail completely as well. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Beauty. All right, let's do a 5-minute break. I need a bio break, and also you should grab your snacks. Snack time. I've got a banana, of course. Let me throw that on. As usual, if you leave, you get banned. Okay, so let me throw a 5-minute timer on. I'll see you in a moment. Oh, we're back. Hang on. We're back. Okay, cool. Hope you had a break. Grabbed yourself some food. A snack. In a second. Okay, cool. I just added a couple of resources in for the bookmark and the swap arrow. So some SVGs that we'll include in there. But what we're going to do now is we want to do this bit where these things do this transition. These two images do their transition. This is the exciting bit. And this is where we're going to use this library here called Xamarin Plugin Shared Transitions. Actually, I'll tell you what I did the other day. Let me just load up a Visual Studio here. I downloaded the sample for this. Check this bad boy out. In a second. Hard working with all these monitors. It's hard working with all these monitors. Where'd you go? Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Let me show you this. This is the sample that comes from that library, and that library is this one here. And here's the demo app for it. So check this thing out. This thing's amazing. I have no idea how this works. I haven't dug into how it actually works, but let's have a look. Let's say we got images and we say tap to navigate. Okay, it does these shared transitions between pages. So it's pretty cool. And here's a list view example. So we select an item here, and that's pretty much what we want to do, right? But we want to do it with two items. And something like that. Yeah. So, yeah, so that looks amazing, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to try and use this to do our transitions. Okay, so I had a read of this beforehand. The idea here is that we, instead of using let me zoom this in a little bit. Instead of using a normal navigation page, we add a shared transition navigation page. And then we basically say that we have an image, we give it a name. So this is the image that's on our first page. It says dog transition. On our second page, we have something which has the same name. Okay, and then when we navigate the page, it should transition between those. Now, we want to do two items. So what I noticed is that there's this group, right? And so the group is basically says you have multiple items, multiple names within a group, and then that should hopefully work for us. That's the shared transition plugin. Yeah, it's basically magic. Let's close down the sample. Well, actually, we might need that in a moment, but anyway. Let's go and add this in. Add this NuGet in. Now I'm going to remember what it was called. What was it called? It was called Xamarin. Plugin.shared transition. Let's go back to the GitHub page. What's it called? Shared transitions. There we go. Plugin.shared transitions. There it is. I'll add this into our project. Cool. Let's see if there's, let's see if there's any initialization. It's actually a pretty good doco. Installing your net standard and your platform projects. We're just using version 2, so we don't have to worry about that. We want to replace our navigation page with a shared transition navigation page. And let's start there. So I'm assuming this is back here. We want to say use a shared transition navigation page. Okay, cool. Now we're going from main page to our other page. Okay, so we got two elements, right? So in this page we have our image here. Let's add in the namespace. Shared transitions. I love this IntelliSense because I can never get that right. Okay, so we have shared transitions. It's our image that we want to do a shared transition on. Yeah, sounds about right. Transition. So our name, so this is just going to be a name, right? So this is our, like our, from our cover image. And we need to give it a group name as well, right? So back here it says, when you have collection views and details, which is what we have, but the name of it, and you've got a group ID, which is like the ID of the element. We don't have an ID. Doesn't matter, doesn't matter, doesn't matter. We should be able to say, so you could probably put some values in your app XAML for your transition names. Ooh. So you're saying, like, for example, here we say a group. This is the unique one for this group, I think, right? So this would be just something which uniquely identifies this. What have we got? This isn't our selected book. This is our from book. Does it matter? Oh, wait on. This needs to be the same across all of them. Try that. So yeah, we could put this in a static string. That's correct. Let's just see if this works first of all. I need to just keep this a little bit simple to start with, right? So now I'm thinking if we have these values here, and then we go to our page, we should then be able to sort of say this image Uses, where's our image? Our from image. We don't have the namespace yet, do we? Something like that. It's not necessarily the correct way, but it's a way. Yeah. Okay, so we go to transitions and we say in this one here, we want that from our cover image. We're going to have to do the same thing on our other page, right? So where we do this, we're going to want to do the same thing in our view cell because it's the image from our view cell that is actually going to come across, right? So we'll find our image in here. Transition or transitions? Transitions. This is not our this is gonna be our cover. So this is our cover image of our, I'm assuming if we say this is, oops, share transition cover image, to cover image, and then on our swap details page, down here, so shared transition, transition name to cover image. All right. What else do we have to do? I think that's lined up the objects. Destination page just needs the name. Cool. And then when you're navigating, you specify the group. And then you navigate. Okay. Let's try it. So that means in our main page, we get our book. Let's select a transition group. Selected group. I wonder if that's a yes. And then this is the group name. So the group we set up to be the selected book title. tidy this up in a moment. So that's saying navigate that group. Let's see how magical this thing really is. Let's see what happens. Run this puppy up. Come on, hurry up. Deploying. Let me eat some banana while that's doing that. Just put the mute on while I'm chewing. Ooh. What's that doing? Well, transition something. That's good. That's a half win. Didn't do anything with this one. Okay, why is that? Let's have a look at what values we have in here. This is our from cover image in our main page. In our swap details page. Let me get that out of the way. This is called top image. Called from cover image. Okay, that looks right. The bottom one is called to cover image. So that should be what we have in our view cell, I believe. To cover image. Wow. Okay. Let's run that again, see what happens. Why is that going there? Oh dear. Okay. It's not good, is it? Oh. Oh, my screen did weird things. Dragon. So I found out why I haven't been able to get Android emulators to work at my workplace. It's because of the policy. I suppose you can still use a physical device though, right? Okay. So this is not working. This is not working. Let's pull this out of the way here. someone in IT to change it. Good luck. Okay. Let's start off with having a look at that doesn't have a group in it. Maybe we need a group. Group name equals, and this is where we used the title. So this is a selected book. So this should be like binding to the title of this. Should change some of this. So just say this is selected book. Oops. And then in our swap details page, get that right. Selected book. Okay, kind of makes sense, I suppose. Okay. Stop that, run it again, see what we get. Almost victory. Okay, so if I select one of these, that's there, that's cool. I select this one. It's navigating down, that's beautiful. Yeah, the top one. What's wrong with the top one? Bet you I don't have the right IDs or something. Okay, so that's working for those. Beautiful. So let's have a look at what we have in the top one. And I'll stop this. So in our main page, that's the one from cover image, and we go to our swap details page. And up here, that has from cover image. Did I set the group? Selected book.title, yeah. Looks about right. Name from cover image. Is where we're going to. Cover image. And down here has an ID of selected book. Book.title. And then that's the group that we're animating, because that's what we say in here. It's almost like it can't find the object. Where's my emulator? Why is that coming from there? It's actually got the right image. It's just taking it from the wrong place. So close. Binding selected from cover image. It's definitely this image, isn't it? Oh. Is it? This is the right image, isn't it? This is the wrong. This is. That's what I just noticed. I'm doing this in the wrong image, which I bet you is over here. Image I want to do this from is. The hell is it? Oh, do I have this hard coded? I think it wants to be there. Right?
Shame. Shame. Shame.
This wants to come from. What's the name of it? Swap from book. Did you hot reload? Oh my God. Oh my God. That is amazeballs. I think that works. I think that works. So, literally magic. Kiosk Dev. This solves any material design transition as well. I think so, right? Oh, sorry. This isn't on the screen properly. Here, let me put this on the screen. Check this out. Hang on. Hang on a moment. I see a problem. This is not the right object. Why is what? Why is that? Was it working? Maybe hot reload screwed it up because I noticed hot reload doesn't work with cells very well. Hang on. Let me restart it. Not hot reload. I thought it was working. Yeah, I think it was a hot reload issue. Yeah. Like, let's see if we can break it again. If I do a hot reload, this is definitely working. We'll save on the main page. Yeah. Save on the, if I do a hot reload, it breaks it. Okay. What do we learn? learned that hot reload doesn't work very well for cells. See if we can find a bug.
Today we're gonna code lots.
Hey, Trevor
with
Dale.
Mr. Kim, Phil Potts, and
Welcome.
oh,
I'm just
how
in the right place too.
amazing you'll be.
Oh, and you subscribed. Good man or woman, person. Thank you so much. All right. Man, I thought so, but I didn't want to assume anything. Okay. Fantastic. Okay, what are we doing now? So close. Animations on this page. What time is it? And reconnection successful. Sorry about that. Are we back? I think we're back. We back. Okay. Travidale. Broke it. No, not really. Okay, cool. So could we do the same thing with these titles? Sounds pretty brave. Oh, we're in a broken state here because of hot reload. Why not? Let's try, huh? Let's try. So what do we need to do? We need to do the same sort of thing here. So this was our main page image. Let's... yeah, I have no idea what this is going to do. So theoretically, we add this to the same group and we'll call this from title. And then before we forget, we'll grab the same thing and we'll put it into our swap details page in our from title. I think that's about right. And theoretically, that should be it, right?
If you are too demanding or too greedy, your mind is not rich and self-sufficient.
Let's see how magical this thing really is.
It becomes demanding, long for something, you will end up violating your own precepts. Not to tell lies, not to steal, not to kill, not to be moral, and so forth.
Wow.
Keep your original mind. Precepts will keep them.
Cut off there a little bit.
The beginner's mind is the mind of compassion.
I imagine you could.
It's boundless.
That works. It does something slightly weird. It had a little bit of cropping there.
Also, the real secret of the arts. Always be a beginner. Be very, very
But
careful about this point.
it actually kind of did work. Should we try doing all of them? Let's just try doing all of them. So we'll say from title, from author. And we'll say page are we on? From author, from our, that would be from our book view cell. No. It'll be from our main page. From author. And then we should be able to do the same sort of thing. Yeah, I have no idea what this error is at the top. Let's just do all of them, see what happens. So on my swap details, I got from title, from author. In my list view cell, I now have to put to title. No, wait on. To title. Yeah, whatever. Say to author. Yeah, I actually think it's a hot reload thing as well. So I haven't worried about it because I'm not running the latest. Okay, so from author to author. So on my swap page, here, where I have my selected book, my naming's a mess here, but to title. And you're right, maybe this is maybe I should have put these strings in somewhere else, and that's to author. I'm gonna run and see whether it works. I feel like that one didn't work. Those ones work. They're beautiful. My two ones didn't work. Yeah, bottom doesn't seem to work. There's no reason why it shouldn't because the book is working. Okay, I probably screwed up something. Let's have a look at what I screwed up. That's my to title, my to author. Title to author, and that should come from my book view cell. To title and to author. And they're in the same group. Is it your binding from the bottom in the book view cell? Well, this is the book view cell. So it's saying this is in the group selected book. Name is to title and to author. My main page, from title, from author. Isn't it a different property to bind to? I think this is a selected book because that's the group, right? So it's all coming through as the same group name. All right, so it's just taking on the name of the group. I could probably just put any string in there actually. Probably doesn't matter. Because this is like the key of it. To author. Title. So if we have a look at our image, here's our image, which is working nicely. Group. Oh. Ah, you're right. Travidale. Travidale wins. The binding context, because we're in the actual list, right? Travidale. I think you nailed it. I mean, we got to test it first, right? Let's try. Let's try. Oh, Travidale. Good eyes. That's pretty amazing. This could be my new favorite NuGet. Well, a group, as far as I can tell from the docs, a group basically specifies, like, this is in this group of to author, right? Sorry, this is in the group, and I just happen to be using the title. It doesn't matter what it is really. And this is saying this is an element within that group. And so I basically, in here, say, this is the group that I want to animate. So I want to animate, and again, it just happens to be that. But it probably matters in list views. I don't know. I haven't read the documentation enough, which I probably should. But that's pretty magical. It's pretty magical. I'm super happy with that. I'm going to eat some more banana. It's funny because shared transitions is something I've actually been pretty scared of. Yeah, exactly. All right, cool. I can just click this all day. But we have things to do. Okay, what have we got left to do? We've got... I'm just wondering whether we can finish this today. Let's have a look at what this does. So yeah, it does all these awesome shared transition things. Does that angle. Okay. Oh, this will be interesting because not only does it do the shared transition, it actually brings it in from the bottom as well. Wow, this will be special. And then we animate out those. What time is it? It's 1:20. Do we give it a go? Buckle up. Let's go. Okay.
Our struggle as artists isn't about appeasing
So
the crowd.
we need to animate that. Basically everything in here needs to be animated.
It's about tending to the broken parts inside of ourselves.
So let's give everything a name.
We create things as a reflection of this struggle
Get this out of my way.
to study
Got our canvas.
of self.
We've got our box view, right? So right at the top,
That wave isn't necessarily a thing you achieve.
Yeah, Dragon says, I didn't realize there was already animation in the example on the text. It might look weird with the combination of shared transitions and the animation. Yeah, it might. We'll try it and we'll see if it works. It could just look like rubbish. Let's give all these things a name. So we'll say give this. So this is the box view around. Okay, so this is the box around here. That expands out. That expands across. Basically everything animates. Okay, so that's our book border. We've got a name for, do we need a name for the image? Probably not. The image is taken care of. Our title. So let's call this our from title label. From title, from author label. Okay. What else we got? We've got our pancake view. So our pancake view is our background of our description. So that's our description background. And this is our description. So let's just try one of these first, and then we'll give it a go with the other one as well. So this is going to be our. So it's going to just be our label, right? So it's our description text. And then we've got the swap banner. Okay, cool. So let's look at what those animations are. First, the border just scales. Just scales up. The titles animate up from the bottom. Okay. And that slides in from the side. What we can actually do with that one, when I've got something that I want to animate across like that, right? Because it doesn't actually slide, because if it did, it would come out, poke out the other end of here. So what you can do is you can just scale it across. All right. Let's give some of this a go. Now we've already got an animation. Swap detail page. An animation in here. So this is our animation. Is it animating the background angle? Okay. So other things that we want to animate is the titles. This will be the interesting one, the titles. Okay. And all we really want to do here is we want to say parent animation, add an animation. Let's just do this from 0 to 1 at the moment. We'll adjust the animation times a little later on. We'll say this is a new animation. And in this animation, we want to say we're going to update the, what do we call them? God, I'm terrible at naming. So what do we have? We had from title label, from author label. From title, I have to save this first. From title label, we're going to do the translation of it because it flies up from the bottom. Flies up from, I don't know, a certain point, and also changes opacity, and pretty much the same thing as the author as well. So we'll say the translation Y equals our value. We want to go from, say, What do you reckon? Probably like 50 or something like that. Let's go 50 to 0. Do that for that. We'll animate in its opacity as well. So it's going to go from 0 to 1. Do the same thing with our from author label. Just do it exactly the same to start with. Now, we're also going to have to set the opacities of this initially as well. Equals 0. So I don't know what that's going to do to our shared animation. Before we go too much further, let's have a look. Where's my emulator? Ooh, nasty. So I wonder if we do this. I'm just trying to see what this does with the... I'm just thinking if we change the opacity and we don't just start doing it straight away and we do it from like 0.5, whether that will give it enough time. Maybe there's just too much going on. Well, actually, the problem with that, I mean, that's fine, but it's effectively got rid of our transition, hasn't it? All right. Let's leave that one for the moment. Come back to that one. Yeah, it does. It still does the transition going back. That is so true. Okay. So basically it has two transitions. Yeah, absolutely. So apart from that, let's also look at the book background. What are we going to do? We're going to do the book background. We've got to do the description background. We also have to do the description text. Okay. So the book background, we could probably just scale it, I think. I reckon. Parent anim dot add 0 to 1. Nation. Of course, I don't know what I called anything. Naming is hard. Dot scale equals t. We're going to go from the value of 0 to 1, maybe. Doesn't take too long. Oops. New animation. That should give it the image of zooming in, hopefully. Oh, where are you? Yeah. I think we need to change its opacity as well. But it's basically right. Needs to be, we just need to adjust the timings. Okay, cool. Okay, so this is going to be the interesting one, right? Because this is the one that I'm particularly interested to see if it works. A description background. Animation. And with this one, what we'll do is we'll change its scale only on the X value. Which means it should just get wider. And we'll take that from a value of 0 to 1. And we want to do our description text as well. I'm going to change its opacity. All right. Let's see if we can adjust some timings here. Let's see what order things come in. That'll happen straight away. Before that finishes, those come in. That comes across. Put this over here so I can look at it. So let's try this. Title label comes in pretty fast, right? Because we've also got to allow time for the animation of the swap as well. We'll make that come in at about that, and we'll say that is that's our author. Finishes a little bit later. Two maybe. Okay. Our book background is going to happen when? Let me have a look. So it happens just around the same time as that's finishing. That's going to be like 0.2. The description background starts just around the time that this one finishes, just a little bit before, I reckon. This is 0.1, 0.4 maybe. 4. Then the text comes in. The text comes in just a moment before that's finished. Okay, so let's make this 0.35. And it finishes at about the same time. Make it 0.3. Let's extend this animation out so we can see what's going on. You can change the duration and animation that is used in shared transitions. Yeah, I saw that. Where's our... This should happen really slowly. This will happen over 10 seconds. Or not. Okay, opacity. What's... Oh. That's the wrong value. Animations can't go for that long. Has to be between 0 and 1. Yeah. Okay, that needs to start hidden. Are you trying to call me? Now, wait on. That scaling is wrong. It needs to happen from this end. So we can set the anchor point of it, right? Okay, we need some starting values here. Otherwise that doesn't work at all. Okay, so this one, right, let's have a look here. This one here, we need to say it's anchor X. So where animations are happening from equals 0. That is the animation I need on the swap one. You're right. Okay. This fella has to, there's a few things that are going to have to start transparent. Oops. One of those is the description background. No. Description text. Equals 0. Title starts blank. About it. Hold on. Let's see if that's fixed our problem. Ooh. I think I'm going to need to set that scale to begin with. I don't like what this does with this animation here. But if I set this, the one that we're scaling. Getting pretty close, I think. Okay, so this has to happen after that comes out. Yeah, I think that's problematic, this title here. That's pretty much right. Description background. This is where we get to the messy end of animations. All about timings. Should be able to just reload this page, I think. If I want to see it again, I should just better save it. This comes in a little bit too early, this text. Not too bad though, not too bad. That's pretty good. I think I'm probably not going to get all of these elements done. Ooh. Well, that was nasty. Yikes. I changed something there? What did I change? Broke something, yeah, I broke something entirely. Translation goes to 0. Ooh dear. Okay. I think we're going to need to get rid of those shared transitions. Yeah, I think the animation is conflicting with it. Which is not surprising. Really. Let me just check this. So we're going the title. Let's just see what happens if I get rid of these. Yeah, I think because the transitions are starting before the my animations are starting before the transition finishes, I suspect. Yeah. Not doing the transition, it works. I don't know what we can do about that. I suppose we could. One thing we could try. I'll put these back in. And we said, it's just for argument's sake. We turn the transition on or off. swap page for the main page. I'm just wondering if we can do this. Shared transition navigation page dot transition duration. This, I suppose, this to, let's say, I don't know what the default value is, 100 milliseconds. And then we don't start these for 100 milliseconds. I wonder what that would do. Let's just try. Let's just say like, just for giggles. Then we add one to here. It'll just be interesting to see whether that fixes our issue. Cool. It's too fast, isn't it? It's too fast. So Dragon, you say, I wonder if you can turn the transition on for the swap page and off for the main page. Yeah, that's not too bad. That's not too bad. Now, I still feel that they're bumping into each other. I think what's you know what I think could be the fix for this is, I think what's happening is when it's animating from the first page. So in other words, it's our main page is sort of that where the text was originally here, right? It's animating it to the point where it thinks it should be, which is there, right? But then we've got it and we've said, no, I'm translating it down and then moving it up, right? So I wonder if we started this with its translation down, then it would probably all be fixed. I don't know if any of that made sense. Let's just try it. So all it would mean is, how far are we doing it? We're doing a translation of 50, right? Which means we're totally going to screw up our design time look, because what we'll do is we'll say translation Y of 50. Because presumably it's, and we'll do our author. Because then what happens in our page is we say, let's translate it from 50, which it is, to 0. Let's see if that looks a lot better. I think it'll either fix the issue entirely or it'll completely look rubbish. I don't think it... I don't understand what it's doing. think it's not adjusting the opacity. Ooh, ooh. That's because we're not doing the opacity straight away. Let's do this. Started as transparent. Yep. When we set that actually in opacity, it was 0. Start this is 0. We actually author label opacity. That shouldn't be going to 1 anyway. It should be going to 0.5. I think I'm going to have to stop soon. Yeah, good stream though. Still doing, isn't it? Let's slow everything down. Actually, that's not going to help because I'm trying to understand what it's doing. I think it's moving it down there. Not sure. It might be a problem for another day. Let's do this. Now, how's everyone feeling? Should we I might have to end the stream. It's almost 2 p.m. my time. And I've got to go and do my real job. I think it's looking pretty good. Let's get rid of that shared transition for a moment. Real jobs, exactly. Dragon, you got to get up in 7 hours. Well, listen, why don't we call it quits here then? Because there's still a reasonable amount that we need to do. I think we can probably pull that off next week. So what's next? We need to do the swap animation. We need to do the... Now, here's another thing I noticed with this as well, actually, which is going to be interesting. If we have a look at this, not only do we have this animating in, we've got these elements here, like this, and even these are actually based on the color of the book. So I think what we'll do is we'll get some SVGs and we'll try recoloring SVGs based on what colors we have. So we'll do that. Get that going next time. Swap animation. We need to do the rotating swap icon. Coloring of bookmarks. Fix the shared transition with animation. So yeah, well, let's have a look at some ideas here. Rotating swap icon. So font awesome. Oh, wait on, this is for the coloring of the bookmarks. Font awesome icons. Maybe if we can find one. Dragon, did you have something, Dragon, that you could share? The other way I could do it is I could do it with an SVG and change the color. Oh. Okay. I'm going to throw that in there. I'm going to go and have a look at that, and we'll see if we can use that next time. Source image. Oh, I'm gonna have a look through that code. Awesome. Tidy up the what else do I need to do? Tidy up the recolors it by tinting it. I've seen a solution similar to that, Dragon, with FF image loading using their tint transform. Something similar. Tidy up the front scrolling animation. Great. Okay. So we might have to call it quits, I think. 2 p.m. my time. Let me go and have a look and see.
Or swimming or anything.
If anyone's on. The Alt F4 stream is on. We could go and have a look at those.
Edit events.
Yeah, it also uses storage on the device though, which I had to change for your implementation. Okay. Cool. Well, that gives us some great stuff. So, so I'm going to sign off, and I'm going to say thanks for everyone for joining in. We're pretty close to this one. We'll definitely get it done next time. We learnt a lot of stuff about shared transitions. We found out that this is a really awesome library. We might be pushing it a little bit too hard, but that works pretty well. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy with what we have at the moment. No, Omen. Got to go to bed. Okay, so good night, Dragon. We're close. We'll get it done next stream. All right, beautiful. Let me go and we'll go and do a bit of a raid. I know how to raid. See you next week. Fantastic. What's this called? Alt F4 stream.
Replace the query. We are definitely getting rid of.
I did the Alt F3 stream.
Chat.
Are you allowed to be playing Cake? I wasn't playing Cake. All right. Well, take care, everyone. Have a great weekend. Thanks again for joining in.
1 second, guys. Actually, I'm gonna get up real quick and pour myself a glass
See you
of
next
wine.
time.
I will be right back, guys. It's wine time, chat. We're gonna get some wine.
Bye for now. Let's go raid F4. Make sure you say hi, and see you next time.